How's it going, everybody? I'm here to bring you a beautiful downfall of a one not beloved person, Rachel Zegler, and more so evidently, Snow White. Funny how, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, they kind of cut the Seven Dwarfs part and just have it as Snow White, because in modern days, you can't say dwarves, even though they're not actually dwarves in real life. It's just a way of, characteristics, I guess you could say. It's like, I think it sounds worse when you're like, oh, mini people or little people, whatever. It's like, no, they're dwarves. I mean, do you want me to call them midgets? I mean, I feel like midgets is a little bit worse, maybe, but I feel like dwarfs is pretty standard. Not many people should take offense to that, but modern times ask for modern problems. And fuck it, you know what? Not too long on the intro, because, I mean, why do you want to look at this? As we move on to other pressing matters, we'll look at this brew right now, but for now, let's look at this video right quick. Intro, please.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. I'm sure a lot of people will assume it's a love story just because, we cast a guy in the movie, Andrew Burnap, great dude. Yeah. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. Who has been...
It's what? His scenes did get cut. There was no Prince in the movie. Instead, it was a bandit, what do you even call him? It was part of the bandit crew, whatever the fuck it is. And he is the one that, gives Snow White the kiss to wake up, even though she's asleep for all of 5 minutes. Oy vey. Don't worry, we'll go over some clips. I got some stuff for y'all. But this is who Disney propped it up. And bro, just look at the back. Look at that person still wearing a mask. Oh my god. Whatever. Side tangent. Let's keep it moving.
Been the most exciting person for you tonight?
Oh my god.
Besides, took the word out of my mouth. Besides,
you noticed the chick was about to say someone else, and then she was like, oh. Yeah, it is you. Yeah.
I'm a narcissist.
What an idiot I've been as a young person in this industry who has no filter and no idea what she's doing.
If I'm gonna stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour and it is streamed online.
You two clearly get along and respect and love
I
each
have
other.
no idea what you're talking about.
Hater!
All right.
It's no surprise Rachel was not there earlier today when Gal received her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Our rights are on the line, folks. Our reproductive rights. Come on. Go vote blue. And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business. Thanks.
And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Nerdrotic.
Thank you, Nerdrotic, for that lovely intro. Again, reacting to the reactions, and we react a lot. As we move on to the next piece of info that we got, let us listen in on this brew. We got a lot of YouTubers that are covering it very well, and I just want to be able to take some of what they got, put it in my own video as well, kind of give my own analysis on the whole ordeal that happened here with Snow White. Turns out she's a fucking complete bloke, and the fact that she had the gall to be like, you know what, it's Hollywood, baby, Weird. Oh yeah, and if you don't vote blue, then don't support my movie. You know, shit like that. Really has a way of turning people against you. And again, it wasn't even just the right-wingers and shit like that. It was hardcore Disney fans that actually got disgusted by her behavior, because you had someone that, without hesitation, was so quick to bash the original Snow White film, saying that, oh, you know, evidently so we can tell that, you know, it was made back then, even though it helped Disney in the long run. It saved them from bankruptcy, and also was a animation marvel for the time, as we'll get into with another video that another person covered very well. Just, how do you fail this bad? Holy shit. But hey, let's keep it going. Watch this.
Snow White makes me feel a little bit sick because I agree with the BBC.
I'm hyperventilating a little bit. If I fall over, pick me up because I've got some things to say.
The movie has a major identity crisis as the toning down of the message during filming leaves a disjointed mess. There are all kinds of problems, such as Snow White.
Right. Oh, I should also clarify. Guess what? In the film, it's basically socialist communism that they are promoting. Everybody does everything for everybody, and nobody has any power above anybody else, except, of course, the royalty, right? Which also, Snow White isn't labeled Snow White, or her name isn't Snow White just because of her fair, light skin. No, she's Snow White because she was born in a blizzard. That's why her parents named her Snow White. Yes. Oh, not to mention, they have a disclaimer at the beginning of the movie of ominous trees and poison apples. Yeah. We have to warn people, there's ominous trees and poison apples in this film, so be cautious if you get trigger warning. Miss me with that dumb shit. Like, whatever. Keep it going before I go on a tangent.
Acting like two different people. Is she the nice, innocent, caring little girl, or a complete arsehole?
Weird.
In the movie, it seems to come down to who she's dealing with. When she's around the bandits, she's a massive hole. But when she's around the dwarfs or in the main town, then they go for innocent and sweet. Except this is Rachel Zegler, that they can't have her be innocent and sweet.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business. Thanks.
This is the loud, whining, modern femininity, where she'll actually go to someone's house in desperate need of help, and then tell the seven dwarfs that it's too dirty for them and they need to clean it up for her.
Now you wash the dishes.
You wash the dishes.
Tidy up the room.
You tidy up the room.
Clean those cobwebs.
You clean the fireplace.
There are lots of these little contradictions in the movie, where in the original, you'll be like, you can do this, and you can clean that, and you can clean that, and I'll use the broom.
And I'll use the broom.
Where she offers to cook, clean, and keep house for them, in return for them giving her a very generous favour of letting her stay in their house, putting them in danger because the Queen's after her, so she needs to provide some value back.
And if you let me stay, I'll keep house for you. Wash, sew, and sweep, and cook.
Not in this. In this, Snow White very much believes that she's a 10. She's the table.
And he'll use the broom.
And I'll use the broom.
No, you're a bloke over there. You need to do everything for me.
Thank God he had some visual. I was trying to find some clips from the original and I couldn't get them. But, as you can evidently see in this, yeah, no, she was supposed to be someone that was kind, fair, and true. Not what Rachel Zegler portrays at all. Because why would you go to someone's house you don't know, tell them, hey, you better clean up your shit, alright? And I'm just gonna stand here and be like, yep, you do that, I'm gonna delegate, the chores. When in the original, and again, in this one, the fucking animals, God forbid you even have them really do anything in here. Maybe because of some animal cruelty shit that they're, I don't know. But The animals also look heavily, obviously they're CGI, but it throws you off. The most atrocious thing in there is obviously having the fucking 7 dwarves look as hideous as they do. And as we'll get into other stuff, like, why? Why did you do it? It's so stupid. But here we go. Modern era, modern filmmaking. For the modern audience, guys. That's exactly what we wanted to see.
Clean your own pissing house until it's up to my standards. I'm not gonna cook for you, why would I do that? You've got hands yourself. This kind of messaging is all throughout the movie. True love's kiss right at the end. In the original movie, he kisses her when she's asleep, and then when she comes round, puts her arms out to him. He picks her up and carries her around. It's a very feminine, submissive gesture. In this, when she wakes up, she practically jumps on him.
I didn't become a little bit of a slag, I became a total slag.
It's like you got a woman with a nudity switch.
Because you can't have him in control of her, you can't have him carrying her around, she'd have no agency. She has to be in control of herself. And so we strip this movie of anything that could be conceived as a normative gender role. Disney want your children to know that what's been normal for thousands of years is very wrong. Perverts in Hollywood know best.
You've got 1 or 2 witnesses today. Lock the doors.
And it's not just matters of romance that go awry, although when we get to what the prince has turned into, that'll be another can of worms. We even come down to the major messaging about why the movie exists in the first place. The original is a very simple story of an older woman jealous that a younger woman is becoming...
We'll get it there. Again, it is absurd that... and they have to change the meaning of fair. And, oh my god, the whole most beautiful and fair of the land, right? Now they're more so talking about fair as in how she treats people, even though that wasn't at all. It was purely on that Snow White was so pure-hearted, so kind, right? She did everything from the bottom of her heart, right? There was a reason why the huntsman couldn't kill her. He was just like, oh my god, no, I can't do this. I'm sorry. Run away. And then obviously her helping out the dwarves and other shit like that, and the prince falling in love with her and stuff like that. Like, there was a reason why the queen hated her so much. Not this case though, because in this one, guess what? She's a girl boss. She's a rebellion, freedom fighter that gets the town together, and you know, the 7 dwarfs don't even really have any significance in this other than just appearing for because they had it in the original, right? In the original, the 7 dwarfs came together to help save Snow White, and yeah, they fucking dropped a giant rock on the evil queen, and you know, she died. But in this one, no. The dwarves don't do any of that shit, and the queen kills herself basically by going to the mirror, and the mirror fucking explodes and whatever, and boom, she's gone. Like, what? Weird, right? Now everybody could say that continuously to her, and I don't think anybody has any objection on that part. Here, let me show you another clip. Of course, this one, you know, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? He is. Shit like this. Like how the 88-year-old drawing animation is more, basically just full of life compared to the new one. Oh, yay. Shit like this, and then we go up to the clip, My Snow White. Oh, that wasn't the one I was going to show. Alright, look at this. Yeah, we got some more clips. Hell yeah. But yeah, see, she's doing everything from the kindness of her heart and all this other shit. And trying to fill a role. Whereas the new one, no, she can't help but delegate everybody to do shit that she deems needs to happen. Let's go to my profile real quick. Obviously, I'm not verified. Who gives a shit? Yeah, we already saw that clip. Oh, here's another one. Look at this shit. Not to mention they add so much fluff to this fucking movie for no fucking reason, where the original was about like, what, 87 minutes or less? And this one runs on for 2 hours and 20 minutes. And to top it off, they changed quite a bit of the songs. One of them, like, What a Wish or whatever the fuck, like, she's... Oh, it's so stupid. It's fucking stupid. That's all I can portray it as. Empty theaters, bro. Empty theaters for fucking Snow White. Yes. Obviously, that's not all theaters, but that's a fucking good amount. I already showed that one. Like, Snow White underperforms and earns $87.3 million in global box office opening. The film had a $270 million budget. Yikes. And then you have shit like this.
Yeah, I mean, Snow White is the girl you remember, but she's definitely made for the modern age, and there's such an emphasis on what it really means to be the fairest of them all. And for Snow White, it's coming to terms with finding herself and finding her inner voice and finding a sense of agency so that she can be a just ruler and a wonderful queen, because there's another one in town who's...
God, it's so fucking hard to just digest. Like, shit. Like, I'm making this a good lengthy video because it's just, this needs to be studied, right? Brie Larson is so fucking thankful that Rachel Zegler entered into the social to the fucking zeitgeist, because remember just a few years ago, Brie Larson was the talk of the town about, like, hey, don't act like this, don't do that, because look what the fuck you did. Yeah, she was riding high on Infinity War, so, you know, Captain Marvel did really well. And then you had the Marvels come out, and complete fucking flop, in which she was asked, you know, are you gonna be returning as Captain Marvel? And she's like, I don't know. Does anybody want me? Blah, 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 this and that. And here you have Rachel Zegler, who can't put it through her thick fucking skull of narcissism that, hey, maybe acting this way is going to put off a lot of people and make me maybe not want them to actually see my fucking film. How many films has she been a part of that flopped just recently? I know she was in the, Shazam, that one flopped. Obviously, she was in the Hunger Games Catching Fire, that one flopped. Or whatever the fuck it was, the Songbird, whatever bullshit. Then she was in this one. That's already 3 films that have flopped horribly. I'm sure she was in some other stuff, I just can't remember, I don't really give a fuck at this point, but... Let's look at the reviews real quick. What are they showing us at? Oh my goodness, IMDb says it's at a 1.9 out of 10. Shit, dude. Rotten Tomatoes is at a 43. And here on just Google, you can see it's at a 1.4. Seems like not the best opening for a Disney film. And even stuff like the Los Angeles Times and other big fucking media things. Let's see what they say here. Disney's Snow White opens with a lackluster 43 million amid controversial shit. And no, I'm not gonna fucking look at it any further than that, because obviously it wants me to do a subscription. We ain't doing that. But you know how we can look at this. Guess what? The numbers, baby! Let's go! Yes, domestically she only made 42 million, and then internationally she made 43 mil. Now, as we go on to something else like The Little Mermaid, just a few years ago, we can accurately see how it did. First week, 95 mil. And just in that first portion, we can see here, 95 mil. This was around again, like the Thursday, Friday. That's where it topped off. My God, it's just so bad. It couldn't even beat The Little Mermaid. That's fucking crazy. See, 85, 95. That's the difference. And then again, this saw a huge drop off of just boom, 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 boom. Couldn't even break 300 mil. That's sad. Obviously, having to part that between domestic and international doesn't help at all, because they don't really make that much off of international. But this one has definitely fucking hit a new low. Some other stuff I wanted to show off. Biggest money losers based on absolute loss worldwide. We can see some other films there that are in the same brand as Snow White. Whatchamacallit. You've got right here Lightyear, another Disney film. Whatchamacallit. Onward, Soul, Mulan, one of the biggest ones, and that lost 140 million. Jungle Cruise, whatever, even Strange World, like these are bad. Like that's fucking horrible. Of course, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Dementia hit a fucking really bad number there. But let's take a listen on someone else that has studied and is very much into the original lore.
Far from the only people to make these kinds of claims, including previous live-action Disney remakes, but here we are. In my opinion, the original Snow White actually holds up pretty well, considering the fact the film is 85 years old. It is admittedly pretty dated. For example, Snow White's hair and falsetto voice were very trendy at the time. The humor is also very 1930s as well, like they have a whole scene where the dwarves just wash up before dinner. Some argue this scene causes the film to grind to a halt, but it was just something they did back then. There was also limitations with what they could do artistically. At the time, a lot of cartoon characters were animals or very out-of-proportion people, but for Snow White they wanted to have more realistically proportioned humans, but since it wasn't really done, they had struggles with it. Before Snow White, they had a short called Goddess of Spring, about the Persephone myth, which was Disney's first attempt at realistically proportioned humans, and while it's a good effort, there's still room for improvement, particularly when it comes to realistic movement on a human figure. As they were working on Snow White, they became more confident when it came to female figures, and comparing the dancing scenes in Snow White to Goddess of Spring, it's pretty impressive how far they came in only 3 years. However, they found themselves still struggling when it came to male figures. The original script had the prince playing a larger role in the story, but they decided to ultimately cut a lot of his scenes, finding him too difficult to animate still. Much of these scenes were eventually repurposed for Prince Philip in Sleeping Beauty, after decades of practicing, and they instead replaced it with scenes of the dwarves being comedic, since they were easier to animate. But I would argue that what we did get of Snow White and the Prince were a lot deeper and meaningful than people give it credit for. Snow White as a character tends to be written off as weak and useless, a passive princess that basically represents everything wrong with Disney princesses. But overall, I think her characterization is actually pretty nuanced, and she's a lot more active in the story than people give her credit for. Sure, she's a bit naive and too trusting, but it's okay for characters to have flaws. But honestly, Snow White's pretty strong-willed. She spent her whole life being pushed around by the evil queen, forced to be a scullery maid in her own castle, but she doesn't allow the mistreatment to break her, remaining positive and kind-hearted. When this movie was released, the Great Depression was going on, and in many ways Snow White's plight reflects the people at the time. The economic downturn and natural disasters like the Dust Bowl caused people to suffer greatly, and all people really had at the time to keep going was hope that things would get better eventually. So Snow White is an honest, hardworking person who's being mistreated by forces outside of her control, something very relatable to audiences at the time. And to be honest, I still think it's pretty relevant today, and something that will probably continue to be relevant. Really, Snow White represents resilience. Even through all of her struggles, she always picks herself up. She's kind and humble, even though she's the second highest authority in the land. She could be like her stepmother, arrogant, vain, and throws her power around without any concern for others. She rules with an iron fist and has absolute authority. But Snow White never puts her power above others. She's always courteous and thinking about others' well-being. While out picking flowers, she sees a baby bird who is injured and lost its family, and she goes out of her way to help it, even though she doesn't have to, which comes back around to help her. The husband reveals he only brought her out here to kill her, but finds he doesn't have the heart to go through with it, so he tells her to run and that she can never go home, leaving her alone in the woods. And this entire experience is very intense and traumatic. She ends up running through the forest screaming, which scares all the animals, but the little bird she helped earlier recognizes her and convinces the others to help. The animals lead her to the dwarf's cottage, and here's where a lot of the criticism usually starts. Where the cottage is very dirty, it seems like the dwarves work in the mines all day and then they just come home and don't really bother cleaning. They'll just eat and go to bed. But Snow White and the animals clean up for them, which some people take issue with.
And again, we already covered that portion where it's like people seem to misconstrue what this scene means, right? Because it's just like, oh, look at these lazy men, they're just don't want to get off their ass, and clean up and make a little bit more tidiness to their home. Meanwhile, again, Snow White is hiding from someone who's trying to kill her, and the best she can do is like, hey, there's this house here that nobody's in right now. It's a little bit dingy and stuff. Let me, spruce up the place. Yeah, let me get my animal friends that I just befriended just a little short while. Hey, help me out, guys. You okay with that? Then the animals are more than willing to help her out. Well, evidently so. Comes the dwarves, she's a little bit surprised, like, oh my god, there's some people that actually do live here. And instead of like being rude or anything like that, yeah, at first they're taking it back, but they allow her to stay when she's, kind of making a compromise of like, well, I can help you out, I can clean, I can cook, I can do some stuff while y'all guys are out. And you even see in like later scenes where, the next morning she's giving them each like a kiss on the head, and even Grumpy is actually like, fine, like, this is all right, I like this. Instead of what we see in the new one, where she's just like, hey, you do this, clean up the fucking mess, all right? Hey, get this broom, get this sweeping. You know what I mean? It's like, where is that relatability, right? Oh, that's what the modern women should be doing, telling the man what to do, even though he's had a long day's work and is very tired and maybe just wants to chill out, rest a little bit. No, I'm sorry, you gotta get off your ass after you just worked a 9-to-5 shift, maybe overtime, and because that's what the modern audience wants, when that's not it at all, right? Most people would say in a good, healthy relationship, marriage, whatever, both parents or both significant others are able to, take the load off of each other on equal terms, right? One may do something for the other while the other one can't do something, and the other one does something for the other in said fashion, right? One may cook, the other one will clean, one will do, other chores like taking out the trash, yard work, and other stuff like that, while the other one, cleans a bit up inside. Now, there may be a time where those two kind of cross paths, and then the female's doing some of the outdoor work and the man's doing some of the indoor work, cleaning up the bathroom or, vacuuming, shit like that, right? There is no there's no wrongdoing in that, but in Snow White's eyes, no. Jesus Christ. It just boggles my mind how this was doomed to fail as soon as Rachel Zegler opened her fucking dirty mouth about, hey, this was made for a modern audience, and evidently so we can tell that the old one is outdated. Sorry, but not sorry. And everybody else was just like, what? We liked Snow White for who she was because she exuded all of the best things of femininity, right? And again, like the person we were just watching, MJ Tanner, go ahead and subscribe if y'all want. She makes it evident that there is a lot of good that can happen out of just being very feminine, right? And then obviously the Macho Man came in later on, helped save her. Obviously he doesn't play as big of a role as some of the other princes in other Disney films, but again, this was the first one that they did, and I would say they did it pretty well for what they had, especially on a limited budget, right? Disney was almost bankrupt at this point, and this film saved them from completely being non-existent. Can you imagine a world right now where Disney didn't exist? Disneyland, obviously Disney Plus, God forbid that fucking thing, but all the films that came after, Pixar, their acquisition of Marvel and Star Wars and stuff like that. It helped those brands at least stay afloat and enter much more broad appeal to other people. Now, obviously, there are some bad sides to that, but Disney wouldn't be Disney right now without Snow White. That's what I'm getting at. And if you want to say, oh, you're being a bigot, you're being too much to Rachel. No, I think everybody's being perfectly critical towards her when she made this such a huge fuss the first time around. Let it be known, this film started filming around think it was 2022, 2023, and then the strike happened. And then they were put on pause just before the strike happened, though. We had seen a picture of the bandits, in which a lot of people, myself included, thought that this was supposed to replace the Seven Dwarfs, which, in a way, they technically did take up the screen time that the dwarves had. But the dwarves were still in the film. It's just that this new added role of the bandits, right, kind of had more of a significance in this new film, where there was no fucking bandits in the original. I mean, it's just downright deplorable what's happened. Oh, not to mention, you can't call Dopey Dopey, because he's more than just a little stupid. Even though it's kind of his whole, like, shtick, is that, yeah, he's dopey, but he is kind-hearted, and he may not be able to speak or whatever, and guess what, they let him speak in this one. It's like, I know it sounds a little bit rude there, but it's like, come on, there's some charm to what the old films had, and you just completely eroded that. It's sad. But that is it for me tonight. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Maybe you hated it. I don't know. Leave a like, comment down, subscribe. Let's see what y'all think. And without further ado, Ace Shinigami signing out. Y'all have a good night, good evening, and good morning. Until next time. Bye.